Hey, welcome back to another Chronicles of the Stack. This time, we're taking a personal look at a deck that I'm building out, and it is Tifa Lockhart. I'm slightly in love with this card. It's a lot of fun, and I've done a couple different reviews on the channel about it. I like that she just grows in power and she smashes things whenever we get landfall. And because of that trample effect, we're definitely dealing damage to their face, right? So we're going to get commander's damage. And it has landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, double Tifa Lockhart's power until the end of the turn. And so it's, to people, I guess, not in the know, it's kind of a sleeper, right? If you're not aware of this deck, if you're not aware of what Tifa can do, then maybe you're not completely preparing for it. Maybe you underestimate the deck a little bit. And so it provides for a lot of good fun. Now these are two cards that I picked up today for the deck. So these will go in the deck. And one, we have Case of the Locked Hothouse. And the reason why I got this is for this right here. You may play an additional land on each of your turns, something that Tifa wants to do. We want additional lands to come in, and Tifa will synergize with those additional lands that are coming in. And then the rest of it, to solve, you control 7 or more lands. So we would unlock, and once it's solved, look at the top card of your library at any time. You may play lands and cast creatures and enchantment spells from the top of your library. And that's great. I picked up today Archdruid, and also at some point, these are some pickups that I got online. Staff of Titania right here. Equipped creature gets +X/+X. And then Adventure Gear, which is super cheap. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, equipped creature gets yada yada. And Primal Bellow. I mean, just an absolute easy include for this deck that I had to pick up online because they're not in the bulk bins. Which there will probably be a lot more. I know that I probably want to put Oracle of Moldiah in this deck as well. All right, enough of me yapping. Here's Archdruid's Charm. Search a library for a creature or land card and reveal it. Put it onto the battlefield tapped if it's a land card otherwise. So we're tutoring either a creature or we are tutoring a land. Otherwise, put it into your hand. And we have some great creatures to put into this. And there's a couple of revisions that I want to make to the deck that I have. Some smarter moves that I didn't have in my MTGA deck that I actually want to put in my IRL deck, right? All right, and the other exile target artifact or enchantment from the bottom and put a ++1 counter on target creature you control. It deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. It's just a massive utility, right, for Tifa. For 3 mana, I mean, not bad whatsoever. All right, and so these are 2 new includes. Something that I also pulled out here is, I think that whenever we're talking landfall, land in a mono-green deck, right? Like Nissa is going to make the conversation. And I just picked this up recently at a game exchange for $5. It was in kind of like a starter deck that I guess came from a bigger product, but it was still sealed. Anyways, I got a great deal on it. And I'm really, for this, we should consider some land proliferation in this deck to maybe get to the ultimate here. But search your library for a number of basic land cards, put them onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. Those land cards become 4/4 elemental creatures with trample. They're still lands. So that sounds great to me. And so that could be kind of the nuclear option as far as Nissa and Tifa is concerned. Something that just, maybe you don't want to use all at once, right? But something that could get Tifa's power into like a critical, lethal type of state. And so this is what's been composed so far for this deck. And I think that we'll get to this card in a second. But Sith Leopard, right? And whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, Sith Leopard gets +1/+1 until the end of the turn. For 1 green mana, pretty good. And this is a promo version that was also found in bulk, I believe. I believe I got this out of bulk. I don't know what condition. I mean, I would say that this is well played, well loved, I think. But just, I thought this one would be a pretty good include into the deck and synergize very well with Tifa. It's something that she already wants. Anyways, and let me stop yapping about that. Okay, and so we'll also investigate. And, whenever we're sacrificing clues, we can put that right on Tifa, maybe put it on another creature. But that way we're getting some counters and we're building power. And if you don't know what Tireless Tracker does, it's just whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you investigate. Whenever you investigate, you get a colorless clue artifact. And for 2, you can sacrifice that artifact, draw a card, and then we get an additional, an additional little ++1 counter love for our creatures. And this is kind of a big boy, and it has the landfall synergy in there. Orin Reef Hydra. Orin Rife Hydra. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. But landfall, whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, put a ++1 counter on this creature. If that land is a forest, put 2. And so double up on those counters. And I'm hoping that it looks like I'm having a little bit of an issue with clarity here on the cards. All right, Spring Bloom Druid, obviously, come on, it's got to go 3 mana, and then we're going to sack a land. We're going to bring out 2 basic lands. You know what I mean? And then this cute little Chocobo is definitely making the deck. And this, this is kind of a sleeper too, in my opinion, because this is just going to continue to grow. And so if this is in an early mulligan, early hand, put it out. First to come out, first to start building in strength. Probably will become a little bit of a target as it grows. But just an automatic no-brain include. Tireless Provisioner, landfall, we want to create food or treasure tokens. It's going to help with the overall performance on this deck. And this was found in, obviously, a Jumpstart pack. And so I was happy to get this because I needed this card. And just a great include as well for Tifa. And let's straighten these out a little bit. Traveling Chocobo. I love this card. This card, 3 mana. It's a mythic. Obviously, and it should be a mythic. You can look at the top card of your library at any time. You may play lands and cast bird spells from the top of your library. But here, this third clause, if a land or bird you control entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. I love it, right? And so this gives Tifa an extra trigger. And so if we're at 40 power, we're going to 80 power, depending on where her power is at. That can get very powerful. Lumra, Bellow of the Woods, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Vigilance Reach. When power and toughness are equal to the number of lands that we control, just a fire card too. Elemental Bear. When Lumra enters the battlefield, mill 4 cards, then return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield tap. And so if we mill 4 cards, we're bringing back 4 cards. And that can get very spicy, right? Very quick. This made it in. Let's read why I included this after reading it. Reveal the top X cards of your library. Put all land cards from among them onto the battlefield tapped. And then the rest on the bottom of your library in any random order. If there are 2 or more instant and sorcery cards in your graveyard, and untap those lands. And so I thought that this was maybe a smart include because we can dig for a certain, for certain X. And we're doing exactly what we want to do, and that is putting lands onto the battlefield. And so I included, and I believe I got this from the bulks. So this was a bulk rare buy. Reach the Horizon. Search a library for up to 2 basic land cards and or town cards with different names. Put them onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. And Reach the Horizon, I mean, for 4 mana, this may not make the cut. You know, I'm not sure it's in here because of what it does, and I'm looking for cards to fill Tifa out right now. But 4, it could be a little high. I mean, it may not be the best. So we'll just put that over here. Then we have Rampant Growth, classic. Search a library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Who doesn't love a good shuffle? 3 Fizzits. Search a library for a forest card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. It's very near, but obviously with 3 visits, it's not coming in tapped, so woohoo. And then we have Harrow. Sacrifice a land, search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, and put them into the battle, or put them into play. Shuffle your library afterwards. And I love this art from Tempest. I love everything about this. She's working hard too, and it looks like there's trouble on the horizon, right? Roiling Regrowth. 4/3. Sacrifice a land, search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, put them onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. And then Intish Restoration, right? Like, this is the one, right? It's instant, right? And I think that it's right around this 3rd sentence here. If you control a creature with power 4 or greater, instead search your library for up to 3 basic land cards and put them onto the battlefield tapped. So for Tifa would go, if Tifa had no other power, I don't know, not mutation, modulation, any other power mods going, it would go from 1 to 2 to 4, right? I know I'm, excuse me for just doing simple math. I'm not, you know what, I'm going to shut up. All right, Explore. You may play an additional land this turn and draw a card. This is from the bulk bins. It's taking a little damage. What a great card, though. Circuitous Route. And search your library for up to 2 basic cards or gate cards. Put them onto the battlefield tapped. And then everyone's favorite, Cultivate. Cultivate, great card. Great card, right? So, I mean, we're trying to get these lands onto the battlefield, and we're trying to do it in the smartest way possible. Sword of Animist. Equipped creature gets +1/+1. That's great. Whenever equipped creature attacks, you may search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library, and equip cost is 2. So, woohoo! All right, and we have Snakeskin Veil to protect Tifa. We're gonna run some protection. I don't know how much protection. You know, I think 5 interacting with Tifa. You know, 5, maybe 5 instants. Maybe a good number. You know, maybe put your thoughts about that in the comments, please. What you guys think about this deck. Draw a card for each creature you control with a ++1 counter on it. Those creatures gain indestructible until the end of the turn. So Inspiring Call, trying to stop board wipes. And then Overprotect. Target creature you control gets +3/+3, gains trample, hexproof, and indestructible until the end of the turn. I was happy to have this card. I think I have another variation of this somewhere, but very happy to have this card. And then we'll get to that one later. That was just kind of like fun sideboard stuff that I want to do. All right, and here's some enchantments. Landfall. This is Ride of Shupoof. Whenever a land you control enters, put a ++1 counter on target creature you control. And then for 7, this enchantment becomes a 7/7 beast creature in addition to its other types. Next include is Hydra's Growth. I do love this card. I actually love this art too. It's a little darker in this printing than I think it probably really is. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't know. Anyways, Hydro Growth enters the battlefield, put a ++1 counter on enchanted creature. At the beginning of your upkeep, double the number of ++1 counters on enchanted creature. So it's kind of like a multiplier. It's sort of getting bigger as you go along. Roaring Earth is another enchantment that I'm thinking about including. It's very similar to Shapuf. Whenever land enters the battlefield, you under your control put a ++1 counter on target creature or vehicle, and then we can discard it, and it'll put X ++1 counters on target land you control. It becomes a 0/0 green spirit creature with haste. It's still a land. Druid class. Because of this level 2 ability is why this one's in there. Whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. And so that's exactly what we want to be doing. Kinrith, just some interaction in case we need to shut down somebody's commander and actually maybe get some card draw out of the deal. And then these, I don't know. For 3 Boar Umbra, I just pulled these out because I had them in my bulk. Enchant creature, it gets +3/+3. It's a totem armor. And so, it gives a little protection. Let me know what you think about those. I also pulled Snake. +1/+1 has whenever this creature deals damage to an opponent, you may draw a card. And then Blanchwood Armor, this is definitely going in the deck, right? Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each force you control. So that could get pretty insane pretty quick. And I have some of these dual land, dual instants. I wanted to put these in. The Ambush and Vastwood Fortification. Put a ++1 counter on target creature for 1, and then target creature you control. So a little bit of interaction in our lands as well. And I don't think that this is actually for this deck or this. And there's another Hydro Growth. And these, but here, we'll just get to, this is just kind of, I don't know. I want to sometimes explore and see, maybe this could be fun, for 5 and create a little bit of a board state. And then it has whenever land you control enters, this token gets +1/+0 until the end of the turn. I have this card. It looks cool. I do love this art. And as well, maybe there's something that does this better. I'm sure that there probably is in Magic's library, but I don't know. It's a card that I own, so I thought maybe. And this is the Summoner's Grimoire. Grimoire has job select. Also, equip creatures a shaman in addition to its other types. Whenever this creature attacks, you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. If that card is an enchantment card, it enters tapped and attacking. And so, right, it's a pretty sly way to maybe sneak some stuff out. And so it may get an include. Right now, it's kind of staying in the deck. So this is something I also wanted to maybe show and tell. I got a little bit lucky today, and I was buying Jumpstart, and I just want to say, I'm not pitching Magic products here, but I do love Jumpstart. I think Jumpstart is a great product. But I lucked up, and I got Landfall, and so these are now going to probably be included inside of this Tifa deck. And I know some of this stuff may already be here, but we have Spore Mound. Landfall, whenever a land you control enters, create a 1/1 green sapling creature token. So maybe get us some chump blockers out, build our board state for 5. Satina, Speaker of the Taura, Tauru, maybe? I feel like that J is silent there. When Satina, Speaker of the Taura, enters, search your library for a basic land card, put that card onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Whenever Satina attacks, you may return a land you control to its owner's hand. When you do, put a ++1 counter on target creature. Pretty cool. All right, I'm digging it. I am digging it. I'm not mad at that. Snapping Gnarlid, right, for 2. Landfall, whenever a land you control enters, Snapping Gnarlid gets +1/+1 until the end of the turn. And so, once again, I mean, very similar to a lot of cards that you're already seeing in this deck. And so, whenever Landfall comes in, we are building a little bit of a board state. I'm not sure. Because, early game, I think that this is fun. But I think late game, it more of a chump blocker than anything else, right? We're probably going to sack that. And then I'm so happy to have not had to order this card online. I did not have I just didn't have this in my bulk. When Skyclave Pickaxe enters, attach it to target creature you control. Tifa, Traveling Chocobo. I mean, just anything really, right, in this deck. And Landfall, whenever a land you control enters, equipped creature gets +2/+2 until the end of the turn. And then the equip is 3. Harrow, we can take this out. We already have the awesome Tempest version of this card that I love. Groundswell, target creature gets +2/+2 until the end of the turn. Landfall, if you had a land enter the battlefield under your control this turn, this creature gets +4/+4 until the end of the turn instead. Excuse me. And so that's just sick, right? I mean, instant. I mean, God, you gotta love Jumpstart, man. So cool. All right, and Grazing Gladeheart. Whenever a land you control enters, you may gain 2 life. Hope everyone can see. I'm sorry that there's like a clarity issue going on right now. Canopy Balath. Excuse my pronunciation if I'm way off. Is there a peak? Maybe I should have just wiped the lens here. Whenever a land you control enters, Canopy Balath gets +2/+2 until the end of the turn. And for 4, I mean, I feel like that's pretty good, right? I would love this card more if we could give this thing trample. Bite down. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature or planeswalker you don't control. Great interaction. We want that. Baloth Woodcrasher, 4/6. Whenever a land you control enters, this creature gets +4/+4. Gains trample until the end of the turn. That's what I'm talking about, right? That's what we want, right? And we've already reviewed this card. This came with the Landfall deck. And so I'm just going to put this over to the side. And we have some lands, right? We have Thriving Grove could probably get out of here. But, right, we want things like Evolving Wilds, right, to double up on those landfalls. And I will tell you already, I'm thinking about running this deck heavy in land. So I might run, I'm thinking about maybe running like 42 lands or somewhere in that area. Because I always want to have lands, right, with this deck. And so I'm thinking about putting a lot more lands into this deck. And these are some more cards from that Nissa starter deck that I got that will probably go into this deck. We have Forgotten Ancient. Whenever a player casts a spell, you may put a ++1 counter on Forgotten Ancient. So in a commander game, we can put a lot of counters on Forgotten Ancient if it can stay on the battlefield. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may move any number of ++1 counters from Forgotten Ancient onto other Tifa target creature. And this is this is a fresher version of this card that I have that came with that Nissa starter deck. In fact, Forgotten Ancient and these all came from that same Nissa starter deck. I got to see what that product was at some point. And so just Landfall. We've already gone over this, so let's just put that to the side. All right, I'm going to put it up here because that will probably be the version of the card that goes in. It's a little bit cleaner. So I'm feeling it. And Rampaging Ball's a great card. And this, I guess this is when it first came out because it's mythic. I think it's been downgraded. currently, but it has trample, which we love. Landfall, whenever a land enters the battlefield under our control, right? We create a 4/4 green beast creature token. And so I am vibing with that because it's vibing with us. Scoot Mob, I'm digging this, right? Because I think that this will happen in this deck very quickly. And let's just go over that. So for one, right, at the beginning of our upkeep, if you control 5 or more lands, put a 4++1 counter on Scoot Mob. So every time we do an upkeep, this thing it's gaining some serious traction. So 4, so it'll be at 5, and then it'll keep going, right? Whenever we do our upkeep, the beginning of our upkeeps, this thing's getting big. I do like this, and this will probably go in the deck because, we really haven't talked a whole bunch about drawing cards in this deck. And so one of the things that you need is card draw, right? And so there's a card that comes to mind. And so this Huntress Prowess, right? Till the end of turn, target creature gets +3/+3, gains trample, which we also love. If we can give something trample that doesn't have trample, whenever this creature deals combat to a player, draw that many cards. So we're going to put that over to the side. And I don't think this is making the cut, but. Okay, and also in no specific order, these are some cards I'm also thinking about. Like I said before, I'm kind of worried about card draw here, so maybe Toski, Bearer of Secrets here. The spell can't be countered, indestructible, and attacks each combat if able, right? And whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So some great card draw there. And then Tribute of the World Tree, which reads, whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. If its power is 3 or greater, otherwise put +1/+1, 2+1/+1 counters on it. And Infiltration Lens, this is also another bulk bin that is just like a great card. Whenever, for one, and equip 1, whenever equipped creature becomes blocked by a creature, you may draw 2 cards. So this could maybe help us, especially considering hopefully they're going to be blocking because, this is something maybe we could attach to Tifa and they don't want to take all that damage and lose the game. And so Infiltration Lens, just like an all-around good card, doesn't get enough love. And then also to protect Tifa, Blossoming Defense. Target creature you control gets +2/+2 and gains hexproof until the end of the turn. And then I love this card too. I've been picking these up a lot. Royal Treatment. Target creature you control gains hexproof until the end of the turn. Create a Royal Roll token attached to that creature. And then this is from Final Fantasy, Tifa's Limit Break, and it is a tiered card. Choose one additional cost. And you have Somersault 0. Target creature gets +2/+2 until the end of the turn. So for 1 mana, you're giving Tifa +2/+2, which will help before you start throwing lands in there. Meteor Strike for 2, double target creature's power and toughness until the end of the turn. Maybe if you're already on a roll and you want to double up. And then Final Heaven is 4/7, triple target creature's power and toughness until the end of the turn. Bushwhack, just a great overall utility card, right? If anyone's not familiar, you can search your library for basic land card, or target creature fights target creature you don't control. And then Incubation Druid, right? We're putting ++1 counters on things anyways, and Incubation Druid could help us maybe get to that mana spot we need. Add 3 mana of any type if we have that ++1 counter. Prey Upon, another way of attacking things. And Head Shredder, kind of cool. When we attack, we mill 2 cards. I don't know if this is going to make the cut. It probably could. If we're milling land cards into our graveyard from our library, then we can put them onto the battlefield tap. And it's just crew 1. And it's a 5/5. I mean, pretty strong. And then classic Prey Upon, I don't know. Target creature you control just fights target creature you don't control. And that's it. I may have some closing statements, and I may have some cards that I'm going to include on the screen that we didn't maybe talk about, like Azusa Lost But Seeking or Oracle of the Moldiah, right? Cards that would just absolutely like fit into this. But other than that, I hope you're having a great day. I hope you continue having a great day, and take care. Later. If you've made it this far in the video, please consider a like and subscribe, as it really does help the channel out. I appreciate all of the constructive criticism and the support that I have received since I've been making these YouTube videos, and I am happy that I have some community support. And thank you to all 124, 125 subscribers that have subscribed thus far. I super appreciate what you've done and the continued support that you are giving. And hopefully I add some value to your deck building or to Magic the Gathering here, because I think that's really what it's all about. Also, please, if you have suggestions, put them in the comments. Please, I have a very open mind, and so I'm very open to people's interpretations, and I like to hear what people have to say. So don't be shy. I definitely want to hear from you, and thank you.